Let's talk Kindle Unlimited book recommendations. If you're unsure what Kindle Unlimited is, it's basically a library of 800,000, that's the quote I heard, titles that you can check out onto your Kindle for a subscription fee. You pay $9.99 a month in Canada. I'm sure it's different everywhere else. I'm also going to caveat this entire video by saying I'm Canadian. When I see a lot of these Kindle Unlimited book recommendation videos, a lot of the books aren't available in Canada and I get really discouraged. So I know for a fact these are all available in Canada when I'm making this video. I'm not sure if they're on Kindle Unlimited everywhere. Hi, Shelby. One thing that I know I struggle with is it feels like Kindle Unlimited books are free, but they're not. You're paying $9.99 a month. And when you factor in the cost of most ebooks, I think you need to be reading about 2 books a month on Kindle Unlimited for it to actually be worth it for you. And the other thing to know is that you do need to return these when you're done. It's a library. You don't just get to keep them out indefinitely. And there's a limit on how many books you can have out at a time. I want to say it's about 20. Don't quote me on that though. If you have too many books out, you're going to have to return some before you can take more out. There are actually a ton of really popular titles for fantasy and for romance on Kindle Unlimited. I asked over in my Book Buddies chat on Instagram what you guys wanted for genres for this video, and you said everything. So here we are. She really wants to say hi, everybody. Oh, claws in the back, but she's happy. This is where I tell you that I read a lot of fantasy and a lot of romance, specifically sapphic romance. And I think that Kindle Unlimited has a huge selection of both of those. We have a lot of books to get through in this, so let's just dive on in and start with fantasy, my favorite. A YA fantasy series, this trilogy, Folk of Air, starts with the Cruel Prince book, is on Kindle Unlimited, and I know I really liked it. So it is YA, there is no spice. I'm gonna specify if books have spice because I know people care about that. It's a bit of a bully romance, which I don't always love, but I do find the world building very fantastical, and the fae in this book aren't high fae. They don't look like people. They're very whimsical and magical, and our main character is a human girl living in this fairy world. And I know that this is a series that lots of people love. One of my personal favorite series that I've read in a very long time when it comes to fantasy, The Ever King and the Ever Queen. I think the tagline is, they took his throne, so he took their princess. Something like that. I feel like I messed that up. It's fine. In this series, we have Sea Fae versus Earth Fae. It's a romantasy. We have dual point of view between our morally gray male main character and our very strong princess. It has a really fun found family aspect where I just love all of the relationships in the book, not just the romantic relationship. And I love the way that the magic is done with this and the way that the Sea Fae's magic is in their voice. I just think it's so fun. And it's a series that I don't hear talked about that much. The Serpent and the Wings of Night, but really anything by Carissa Broadbent. The first 2 books in this fantasy series are out, and they are about a vampire and a human. It's going to be a pretty big series when it's done. It's going to be 6 books broken up into duologies, where every 2 books follow a different couple. I find anything she writes so good. They are romantasy and they are spicy. Another series that is spicy and romantasy is the Hades and Persephone saga by Scarlett St. Clair. This entire series is told in 2 parts. Her side of the story and his side of the story. I love his side of the story, but if you're not familiar, this is a spin on Greek mythology, Hades and Persephone. Hades is the god of the underworld. Persephone is the goddess of spring. They're a couple in Greek mythology, and I love this retelling. I will say that I still have the last book in the series to finish personally, but it's really enjoyable so far. I personally do love Greek mythology retellings. Another Greek mythology retelling that is on Kindle Unlimited is The Song of Achilles, which is probably one of my favorite books of all time. And it's queer. It's gay. I love it. If there is one book from this list that you end up reading, please let it be that one and tell me how many tears you cry because of it, because I cried a lot. Another little spin on mythology, we have the Plated Prisoner series, which is sort of a retelling of King Midas and his gold touch, but it turns out he doesn't have the gold touch in this. His little lady that is entirely made of gold that he claims he turned gold himself is actually the one pulling all the strings in the background, turning things to gold. It is also a spicy romantasy series. I personally found that my interest in this one dipped a little the further we got on in the series because it is a long one, but I do enjoy it. And if you're into fairy tale retellings, stick with me for this one because it's gonna sound a little weird maybe when I describe it, but it's a series I love. And that is the Bonded by Thorn series. So this is a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, a fairy tale that I love. But it's also a why choose romance. So instead of our fairy tale heroine needing to decide which of the princes she wants to end up with, she ends up with all of them in like a fated mates, one woman, multiple partners situation. I feel like it's such a page turner. It also has some queer romance elements in it. And another book in the series, I think it might be the last one, it comes out so soon and I can't wait to read it. And if that concept sounded interesting to you, the Broken Bond series is a 6-book series. It's also a reverse harem or why choose romance. In this book, people have superpowers and we have our one really powerful lady, but she is fated to a bunch of people that all hate her. It's another goodie. If you like dragons and you liked Fourth Wing, I would really recommend When the Moon Hatched. I know I've been seeing it in bookstores everywhere too. Dragons in this book are kind of more like dogs, like they're your pet, they're your companion. A lot of fantasy books have the male main character being morally gray. He's a bad guy, he's a bit of a villain. He doesn't care whose feet he steps on. He will anyone that looks at you wrong. But this book is kind of different. The love interest in this book gives me more golden retriever energy, and he is strong and willing to do anything, but he's also like such a nice little lovable guy. And dragons. If you like witches and you like sapphic books, I would highly recommend Her Spell That Binds Me. It's a witchy little romantasy that takes place at a university and is rivals to lovers. It's also just a standalone book, which I really enjoy because often, as you're hearing with all these fantasy books, they're parts of really long series. This is just a one and done, which can be really good. I also recently read Belladonna on Kindle Unlimited and I loved it, but then I went to pick up the next book in the series and it's not on Kindle Unlimited, and that has become my newest ick of life. It's happened to me before with the Bridgerton series. The first 3 Bridgerton books are on Kindle Unlimited, but the rest aren't. And that really frustrated me. Belladonna is about a girl who cheats death, and she's the only person that can really interact with death. I think it's YA. I really enjoyed it and I've been in a bit of a book slump. So when I read that and really liked it, I thought, oh my goodness, yay, there's 2 more books in this series that are out. I can't wait to read them. And them not being on Kindle Unlimited gave me such an ick. And now I'm like, do I go buy them? But then I don't have all of the books in the series. I only have the last 2 and I hate when that happens because it's happened to me before. The struggle. From there, let's do a few thrillers because I only have a few, honestly. I love thrillers, but the thriller selection on Kindle Unlimited isn't great. One series that I've really loved, and I don't typically love a thriller series, but I'm making an exception here, and that is the Housemaid series. I haven't read the 3rd one yet, but I really want to. I know it just came out. It's about kind of what it sounds like, a maid who works for a wealthy family. The maid needs a fresh start. She's homeless, she's dealt with living in her car, she's dealt with a lot of things, and this is a live-in position. But she realizes this family has a lot of secrets and nothing is as it seems. The woman of the household, Nina, is a little like cuckoo for Cuckoo Puffs and seems to be trying to sabotage the maid. It's such a twisty-turny thriller, and I feel like you never know what's going to happen in this. Same with the 2nd book. I actually preferred the 2nd book more than the 1st. I think that this is a really fun, twisty, dark thriller series. And it is dark. And another thriller that I just read recently was Dear Hannah. If you've read Baby Teeth, I know I haven't. This is the standalone sequel to that, and we're following a psychopath. And I feel like the inside of a psychopath's brain is kind of interesting. I studied neuroscience, so maybe that's why I think that. So don't judge me for saying that, but I feel like the author has done the inner thoughts really well. And it kept me wanting to turn the page, which is what I needed in a book at the time. Okay, time for the romance section. I'm going to start by saying I was surprised to realize that all I think, of Elsie Silver's Western, cowboy, small town romance novels are all on Kindle Unlimited. I know they're so popular. I've been seeing them everywhere. Chestnut Springs, I think, is one of the series. I read the first one in that. And I mean, I see why people like it. It's not personally for me just because I don't think I like small town romance very much, but I see why people like them, and if you are into romance, you should definitely check these out. Icebreaker, I haven't read yet, but Wildfire I did read, and I actually really enjoyed this book. Icebreaker, I definitely say, is a hockey romance. It is a romance between a hockey player and a figure skater. I haven't read it, but I hear that it's like super spicy. Wildfire is following the same cast of characters, but this time it's at a summer camp, and it's one of the hockey players working at the summer camp. It was a really easy read. It is spicy. Super popular though, and I'm shocked to see it on Kindle Unlimited. If you like YA romance, I do have a few recommendations for you. I mean, I feel like a lot of people have read The Summer I Turned Pretty by now. I know the Netflix show is so popular and I love the show. The show is actually what inspired me to read the books, and I just really liked them. Also, I was so interested in seeing ways that the show and the books are the same and different. I think this would be considered a romance, but if you want to cry a lot, read If He'd Been With Me. It broke my heart into like a million little pieces. It's a coming of age story, broke me. Another book that completely broke me from like the very first page. I was looking for a book to make me cry a lot, so I picked this up hearing that it'd make me cry a lot, and it didn't disappoint. 1,000 Boy Tears. Weird name. I don't think I would typically read a book with that name. Don't let the name turn you off. It is YA, and it is absolutely horribly sad. If you're looking for a book to make you cry, this is the book to read. A sapphic romance that's on Kindle Unlimited that I've really loved, I gave it 5 stars, it has such a special place in my heart for some reason, is On the Same Page. It's a friends to lovers romance. There's a lot of like miscommunication happening in this book, and it's one of my favorite sapphic romances I read. There's also a lot of Colleen Hoover books on Kindle Unlimited. I have only ever read Reminders of Him. Again, I wanted to cry. Didn't cry as much to that one, honestly. But a lot of Colleen Hoover books are on Kindle Unlimited. And one more romance that I've read and really liked off of Kindle Unlimited is The Summer of Broken Rules. I read this as a poolside read, and it's the perfect summertime poolside read. We're exiting that season, but maybe next season, maybe you're going on vacation. This is just the perfect light beachside read for me. I have a list too of some books that are on my TBR from Kindle Unlimited because my 80 plus books physical TBR isn't enough. I need to have a digital one too, I guess. I'm currently reading One Dark Window, which I know is part of a duology. I'm only a few pages in, so I don't really know what it's about, but I know it's fantasy and that everybody raves about this book, and I'm someone that gets FOMO. If everyone's raving about a book, I need to read it. Don't Want You Like a Best Friend is a Regency England, so think Bridgerton, sapphic romance. It's just a bunch of things I like. There's also a series called the Oxford Romance Series, which to me sounds like maybe it'd be at Oxford University, which I think I'd love, especially in the fall. That sounds cozy. It's a sapphic romance series. The first one's called Meeting Millie, and the second one is called Tempting Olivia. Another book that I want to read for fall is called Not Just Gal Pals. Perfect name for a sapphic romance. It is a small town romance where one is going back to their small little town that they've left from. The other is the town's only doctor, which gives me, what's that show? Virgin River. It gives me Virgin River vibes. Another sapphic romance, Better Than Expected. The author of this is the same author that wrote On the Same Page, my favorite sapphic romance, so I want to give this a try. The Lost Bookshop. I heard of it a lot. Again, don't know what it's about, but it's on Kindle Unlimited, and I just noticed this now. So I feel like that also might be on my fall TBR. Like, it sounds like it might be cozy. The Something Billionaires series, what's this? I've been wanting to read it for a long time because I love Disney. You're probably thinking, where's this going? I once heard someone say, for people that like this series, if you want to sleep with Walt Disney, just say so, because I think that it is billionaires who run theme parks, and reading actually that person's thoughts on it made me want to read it. Not because I want to sleep with Walt Disney, he's also dead. Unless you believe that that theory, that conspiracy theory that he is actually being like cryopreserved, but just his head somewhere so that he can be put on a body and brought back to life in the future. Unless you believe that, no, he's dead. I don't know, it just sounded intriguing once I heard that. Again, I don't know what it's about. I just have been seeing it everywhere. Spark of the Everflame. This whole series is on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm thinking I might pick that up too. And honorable mention for a book series that I wanted to start once upon a time. It's super popular, so I'm just going to throw it out there that it's on Kindle Unlimited because I tried to get into it and just couldn't, so I DNF'd it. But Things We Never Got Over, this whole series is on Kindle Unlimited, so it's getting an honorable mention because it's not one of my recs, but I know that people love it, so I just want you to know that it's on Kindle Unlimited. And those are my recommendations. Please leave your best Kindle Unlimited book recommendations down below. I also get this glitch, I don't know if anyone else gets it, where it tells me like, read these next on Kindle Unlimited, recommended for you on Kindle Unlimited. And then I go and I'm like, oh my god, I've been wanting to read that book. And then it's not actually on Kindle Unlimited when I click it. Does that happen to anyone else? Because it's like Ruthless Vows, like Letters of Enchantment, like I can't remember what the first one in that series is called. It doesn't matter. I would like I'll click the book and it'll take me to the page and then it says pay this much for it. But it's under the Kindle Unlimited category. It doesn't make sense. Anyway, with that, I'll leave it here. Thanks for watching my book buddies. I am in a book reading slump and I have not really been reading anything. I'm gonna do my best to get out of it. Maybe that's what the next video will be. I'll see you in the next video and we'll chat soon. Happy reading!